From being relatively unknown in the world of MMA to becoming a real threat, Alex Grasso has come a long way. Let's talk about why fighters are so afraid of her. For starters, she's super experienced for a 29-year-old. Grasso first started competing professionally back in 2012, and she managed to put together an impressive record of 5 wins, coming at 0 losses in the first 18 months of her career. The Mexican MMA specialist made quite a name for herself, and it wasn't long before the big leagues started noticing her. Invicta FC was her first real breakthrough. The fighting promotion signed her in 2014, and the rest is history. Alexa was knocking her opponents out left and right as she went on to win 3 consecutive fights before having to withdraw because of an injury. I'd call it a blessing in disguise, though, because her perfect record stood out and eventually became her ticket to the biggest promotion on the planet, the UFC. Grasso couldn't maintain her perfect record, but she put on a lot of brilliant performances, and at just 29 years old, she has an impressive record of 15 wins, coming with just 3 losses. Now, be honest, the fans don't really know her yet because she's yet to face a big name, but as far as the competition goes, everyone is afraid of her. Just think about it. She's been in the fight business for 11 years now. 11 years, and she's only lost 3 times.
But so far, Grasso doing such a good job with the movement, getting in and out, and not taking too much damage.
Well, I think the difference is the way she's using technique.
It obviously means she's a dangerous fighter, right? But what does she do inside the cage that makes her so deadly?
One of the best fighters to come out of Mexico and grace the UFC octagon, Alexa Grasso.
She's one of the best boxers in the division. The combinations that she puts out are absolutely phenomenal.
Well, she's not someone you'd want to mess with. See, outside the octagon, Alexa is this sweet individual who never loses her cool. But inside, it's a different story. You do not want to be on her bad side. The fact that she's such a well-rounded fighter makes it very difficult for her opponents to find a weakness. While I'm sure the female division is well aware of that, to all the gentlemen, don't be fooled by her beauty. She packs enough power to put a grown man to sleep. Alexa has everything: punches, kicks, knees, fight IQ, technicality, you name it.
I feel so confident right now because my ground game and my striking game are matching perfectly, so now I feel like I can finish the fight wherever it goes.
And even though most of the division knows her for being a dangerous striker, don't be confused one bit. She's a beast at controlling the distance. I'm not sure if you've noticed or not, but whenever the bell rings and Grasso runs to the center of the cage, she immediately takes a few steps back and maps out her opponent. The only time anyone's ever getting close to her is when she lets them. And for those of you who saw her fight against the exciting Macy Barber, Alexa literally had her punching air because she was so good at controlling the distance. And even though she went on to lose that fight via decision, it was anything but a bad performance. Plus, you'll have to listen carefully if you want to understand this next point I'm about to tell you. Alexa is done with losing at the UFC. Before I tell you what I mean, I just want to get one thing out of the way. What I'm about to say is in no way a swipe at Invicta FC. It's a professional organization with some of the most dangerous fighters in the world, but at the end of the day, the level of competition at the UFC is at a different level. And when Grasso first joined the promotion, she went through what I like to call a slight adjustment. Alexa was so used to bashing her opponents at Invicta FC, she thought it would be as easy at the UFC as well.
This was the real deal.
But after suffering some losses and having her game exposed a bit, I think she's done losing. She's figured it out. She's made the necessary corrections, adjustments, and added variety to her arsenal. But her next opponent is a different breed, and I'll get to that fight in a bit, but I just want to expand a bit more on what I was saying. From what I've seen so far, she's good at everything, but needs to work on sealing the deal. All of her losses could have been avoided if she knocked her opponent out. And I know that sounds super basic because, well, that's how fights usually end, but just hear me out. A significant punch, kick, or anything for that matter is enough to get the judges to score in her favor. She's consistent throughout, but if she's able to be a bit more explosive in the later stages of the fight, she could easily have avoided her 3 losses. But what do the pros think of her? They think she's a phenomenal striker. Even Grasso has said this.
A beautiful grappling transition. And here's a beautiful straight left from Alexa Grasso.
She said she's known for her exceptional striking ability, and after watching her compete at the UFC, guys like Ode Osborne and Alan Jobin both think Alexa is an exceptional striker, one of the best in the division for that matter. On the other hand, American lightweight fighter Al Iaquinta thinks Grasso is sharp and fast, and at times it's impossible to see where she's getting all that firepower from. And after her third consecutive win back in March 2022, Bilal Muhammad thought she'd done more than enough to earn a title shot, with Chris Curtis calling her a real problem for other fighters in the division. I mean, it's obvious she's the real deal. You can't argue she still has to prove herself or something at this point because she's past all that now.
Right now, she's giving Grasso too much space. When you give Grasso space, she goes over combinations.
Yes, it's too far. Because then she has to really dart in, and when she darts in, that's when Grasso...
She's established herself as a threat in the division, and to be honest, I think she has what it takes to cause an upset at UFC 285. But it's probably going to be the biggest challenge of her career. Like I said before, Valentina is a different breed.
The first time they've ever properly clinched like this. Now, Carmouche is very, very strong, but look at this. Look at that! Combination of power and technique. Well,
let's not forget, she already has 7 successful title defenses as she goes into her 8th against Grasso. But at the same time, Alexa is on a 4-fight win streak. It's obvious both fighters are coming into this fight with a lot of momentum. And even though Grasso is clearly the most exciting prospect out there, it would be disrespectful to count Valentina out. She's a household name in women's MMA.
Yeah, looks like she opened her up with one of those elbows.
Big damage.
Stoppage
Looking
could come
very
here.
closely. As it should be. That's it.
And still, the UFC flyweight champion. Is there anyone?
But at the same time, it won't exactly be an upset if she manages to win. Just think about it. The only losses Alexa has suffered in her UFC career were in the strawweight division. Ever since she moved up to flyweight, she's been unstoppable. And since the 29-year-old brings a lot of unpredictability to the octagon, could it be the end of Shevchenko's reign? I'm guessing only time will tell now. But if anything, it would be a mistake to count her out, as she's one of the best fighters at the promotion right now. And speaking of UFC 285, this is probably going to be her biggest payday as well. The event is headlined by Jon Jones, the GOAT. He's making his comeback after a long time, and as the fans flood the arena to watch him take on the Frenchman, they'll be in for another show as the co-main stars Alexa. She's about to make a lot of money. There's going to be a lot of revenue coming in from the Jones fight, and when you pair that with her own hype along with Valentina's brand value, it's going to be a fun night at the office.
the first time they've ever properly clinched like this. Now, Carmouche is very, very strong, but look at this. Look at that! Combination of...
Even better if she's able to win, but yeah, the flyweight champion won't be taking her lightly, that's for sure. Because if she is, Grasso has everything in her arsenal to surprise Valentina with a monstrous knockout to seal the deal.
Boxers in the division, the combinations that she puts out are absolutely phenomenal.
She's very technical. Her punches are crisp and clean.
Anyway, this is why fighters are so afraid of Alexa Grasso. Thanks for watching.